This dresser was $30. It was covered head to toe in chalk paint and it was in dire need of a makeover. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly how I brought this dresser back to life step by step. I started out by brushing on a thick coat of a non-toxic paint stripper all over the body of this dresser. Once the body was all covered, I started removing the drawers so I could get to working on them too. After about an hour, it was ready to be scraped. After removing as much as I could with a metal scraper, I went back in with my carbide scraper to remove even more of the old paint and finish. I then grabbed my contour scraper with a rounded attachment to begin removing the paint from the front trim pieces. I alternated between this and a crumpled ball of tinfoil to remove as much of the paint as I could. I then followed this by scrubbing the entire piece with soapy water to neutralize the stripper. Now it was time to tackle scraping off the drawers. Wait until you see what's hiding under all of this white paint. I used the corner of my carbide scraper to get the paint out of these hard to reach areas, and then followed that with a scrub down using acetone and fine steel wool to remove as much of the finish as I could from these detailed areas. I noticed there was still some white paint in the grain, so I switched the steel wool out for a brass bristle brush and gave the entire drawer a good scrub. Finally, it was time to sand. I started out by sanding with 120 grit sandpaper on my orbital sander, and for the areas that my sander couldn't reach, I used my carbide scraper to remove the finish. I moved on to sanding the top, but quickly realized there was still paint in the wood grain everywhere, so I went back in with a brass bristle brush and some more acetone. Next, I moved on to sanding the drawers. I started by sanding everything down with 120 grit, and then moved on to 220 grit sandpaper to smooth. I made sure not to neglect the sides of the drawers where the previous owner did quite the messy paint job. Now for the fun part, stain. I used Minwax's Early American stain, but I quickly realized the wood was looking quite red, but I had already started, so I just had to keep going. Once that all dried, I still wasn't a big fan of the way it was looking, so I decided to go in with a walnut gel stain over the top. And immediately I could tell I was going to like this a lot better. While the stain was drying, we gave the original hardware a quick polish and applied a few coats of a wipe-on poly. before I show the final result, remember where we started, covered head to toe in paint and begging for a makeover. Here's where we ended up. I truly do not understand why anyone would ever want to paint this. I originally bought this piece for $30 off Facebook Marketplace, and it sold for $525 almost immediately after listing. As always, thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments what you think of this flip. Make sure to subscribe to see more transformations.